So we did it. Black Dragon Gaming has been a channel, what, almost 2 years now? Finally, we have come to a request that's just, what? I can't believe I built something good around this. I can't believe this feat exists. No comments here, because the request was made over Discord voice today. Boom! Little fairy guy, Adam. He plays Kieran at Wrath of the Righteous. He would like us to talk about the feat Shrapnel Strike and optimize around it. This one's a bear. Yeah. But it's really good. Anyway, if you're liking what you're seeing, like, subscribe, and ding the bell. And, oh, hey, really quickly, guys, henceforth, patronage at any tier, in addition to getting your requests to up here to the top of the line, will also give you access to my builds in Excel documents. Several people have asked for them over my time as a YouTuber, so by the time this goes live, there will be a new channel in our Discord specifically for BDG's character builds, so you can see them yourself, so you can play with them, so you can tell me all the things I did wrong and laugh at me. That would be mean, but I mean, you could do it. Anyway, today's episode of Min-Maxing for Fun and Profit was brought to you in part by the man who requested it, Dragon9Hide. Hope you don't die in Wrath of the Righteous. You're probably the most likely to survive, I'd say. Anywho, here we go. Okay, so this build has a couple of assumptions with it. First things first, the GM must be okay with this for it to work, because there is no strict table for some of our abilities. We can confirm that what we want to do works via the text of some weapon enchantments, but we don't have any flat numbers. If the GM would like to set an arbitrarily high number for what is decidedly a tier 2 or 3 ability, okay, cool. Congratulations, GM, you've shut off our build. But hey, you know, we're also gonna need your help with this one because this build truly needs well thought out battlefields. We need maps with terrain, we need doors, we need tables, we need chairs, we need trees, we need things we can attack that aren't the bad guys. That's the core of this feat. And let's talk about the feat now, shall we? Shrapnel Strike, with a prerequisite of Strength 15, Improved Sunder, and Power Attack. When you attempt a strength check to break an object that can shatter, so nothing made of paper, cloth, leather, or other soft, pliable material, you gain a bonus on the strength check equal to your base attack bonus. If you surpass the object's break DC, you can send shards of its material flying out in all directions, dealing an amount of piercing, slashing, and bludgeoning damage equal to 1d4 plus 1 point per point of the object's hardness to all creatures within 10 feet of the object, including yourself. With a reflex save at 10 plus half hit dice plus strength to cut it in half. A strength check to break an object is a lot of things. A sunder is not one of them. Yes, we need improved sunder as a painful feat tax, but rather than have to roll over a number and then do damage, we're literally rolling at a DC. That DC is 150 billion% not affected by hardness. The value depends more on the construction of the item than what the item is made of. Of course, different size categories give you different buffs or debuffs to this, but all we have to go on here is the DC to break or burst items table here. Simple doors, strong doors, rope bonds, iron bars, which will be pretty important for us. Yeah, those are the numbers we're swinging at for value. Now, on paper, it doesn't seem like we have a lot of value here. There's a few hoops we have to jump through for sure. First things first, there's not a lot of races that buff out strength checks. We can buff out our strength score, which roughly translates to the same thing, but we can't flat buff out the strength ability check. However, a half-orc may replace ferocity with the alternate racial trait Gatecrasher, giving them a +2 on those strength checks, and I don't really think this character has a lot of a brain in their skull, so I'm just gonna really quickly, break it, get to the chopper! That's basically you. Except when you get to said chopper, throw the chopper into a bunch of trees, the trees will blow up, lots of damage happens, it's super cool. Our important ability scores today are Strength and Charisma. Be sure to pad your dex, probably most of all, of your save stats, dump your intelligence. Why charisma? Why, you may ask, for someone who's just going to run around breaking stuff? Well, our core class, though there's a lot of dipping and jumping and stuff, will be the Oracle. I did it again. I'm sure they're laughing all the way in Edmonton As Kane sees me optimize a class that I don't really like that much, here it's just really good. This is one of the few times that the Oracle's curse plays just right into what we're trying to do. What curse, you may ask? The Wrecker curse. Held objects gain the broken condition when you use or equip them, but regain their actual condition if employed by anyone else. If a held item is restored to unbroken condition, it becomes broken again the following round. In return, Disable Device becomes a class skill, and we can destroy non-magical traps as a move action, blah blah blah, whatever. We're literally just here because the break DC for a broken object decreases by 2 without decreasing the hardness. Wrecker Curse plus Gatecrasher Half-Orc means we basically have a +4 on this right out the gate. The Oracle is also wonderful in and of the fact that it has access to mending, that it has access to make whole, because we are going to be breaking our weapons, we are going to be breaking our gear, we are going to be breaking the loot, we're going to be breaking everything we can possibly be breaking to do damage to the bad guys. Being able to fix that afterwards means we can go again with some of our cool items, and we can still sell the loot we're breaking to kill people with, to say nothing of the cure spells that will help see us through when we're failing those reflex saves. Point the second. To pad out our reflex saves, our next 2 levels with that super high charisma, yeah, you guessed it, they will be anti-paladin levels. Maybe you didn't guess that one, but we need to worship Gorham. So anti-paladin it is. Smite good is cool, detect good is cool, unholy resilience is what we're looking for. Charisma to all of our saves looks wonderful, especially when we're making reflex saves against our own egregious DC all the time. After that, our next 2 levels will be barbarian level. The D12 hit dice certainly helps out when we're getting shrapnel in our pectorals, and with the Moment of Clarity Rage power, we qualify for a prestige class I never really thought I would play, the Rage Prophet. The Rage Prophet might as well be a hybrid class of the Barbarian and the Oracle. We'll need to take 1 more level of Oracle so we can get our BAB up to 5. Once we do, we get a free Guidance Buddy, we get a class that stacks with determining our Rage powers, our Oracle Revelations, and our Curse. Most importantly, we're only taking 2 levels of this. The second level power of a Rage Prophet is Raging Healer. At second level, a Rage Prophet is able to cast cure spells on themselves while raging without having to use Clarity of Mind, because we're going to be raging and hurting ourselves. That is the evil truth of this build. Things are going to explode all around us, and Reflex, Charisma or otherwise, will be our worst save. A quickened Metamagic Rod for even like a Cure Moderate wounds probably sees us through. We will take Oracle levels for the rest of the way. At the end of the day, we're looking at Anti-Paladin 2, Barbarian 2, Rage Prophet 2, Oracle 14, for a total caster level of 15th with our Prestige class, up to 7th level spells. Now some feats, the probably most boring part of this build. At first level, Power Attack. At third level, Improved Sunder. Yawn! Horrible feat taxes, worst feats ever, at least for us. By 5th level, we will take Shrapnel Strike, and then at 7th, it's Deific Obedience, choosing Gorham. We don't really care about the boons, we literally just care about the obedience, because that obedience gives you a +4 sacred or profane in our case, bonus on strength checks and strength-based skill checks, or a +4 on doing what we want to do, which really helps us clinch it, because remember, we don't have a scaling DC. Once we're there, we're there. This helps us get there faster, and if our DM wants to put us up against super powerful material or some, like, they're tired of your shenanigans stuff, this will help your numbers get even higher. Your next 3 feats are definitely your mileage may vary sorts of feats, but if you're fighting lots of humanoids, or at least lots of things that will be attacking you with manufactured weapons, Dirty Fighting, as Dirty Fighting is just strictly speaking the better prereq than combat expertise is, followed by Improved and Greater Disarm, is wonderful tech for our build if they're attacking us with weapons. Carry something like a flail, one of the myriad weapons with the Disarm special ability. There is nothing, rules as written, in our strength checks that says we just absolutely must use 2 hands to break things, but if you disarm someone, you can take their weapon. So disarm them of their spear, say, and then snap it over your knee. Splinters go everywhere. You've done damage to people. More importantly, Someone's lost their primary weapon. It's an enormous debuff against humanoid opponents. You might change these feats out if you think you'll be fighting things with claws or oozes or clawy ooze monster things, I don't know. Yes, this is sideboard tech, but it's sideboard tech that's so good for us, especially, again, because we can just mending the loot right back up, that it would be remiss to not say something. Anywho, awkwardly enough, the next two feats, lightning reflexes, then improved lightning reflexes, could probably save our life at some point. Lastly, it's improved initiative. Now, this feat is kind of a placeholder. You really want to take leadership or at least have a wizard friend in this party for a spell. If your GM will let you have a tier 1 caster on top of your tier 1.5 caster that you're doing weird stuff with, I mean, hey, who am I to say no? If not, take the +4 to initiative. Now, as for our magic items, of course follow this card right up here. We'll learn all about the big 6. There are 4 items today that we should discuss that are just really good for our build. First and foremost, the Ring of Evasion. We don't have it in class, so yeah, probably should get it on a ring. In our hand slot, the Gloves of Improvised Might will grant an enhancement bonus of +1 to +5 on attack and damage rolls with improvised weapons. More importantly, every +1 is +2 to hardness, which is +2 to damage when we're tearing the thing apart. So pick up a chair, break the chair, everyone dies horribly, or something like a breakaway chain with hardness 10. D4 + 10 is kind of hilarious, and unfortunately, there are no rules as written stats for making this an adamantine chain, but the breakaway chain has a DC 10 strength check to break, and remember, if we're wielding it as a weapon with our Wrecker Curse, it becomes a DC 8. At 65 gold pieces, a couple of these are probably your mainstay as far as weapons go, at least for a while, until you get your hands on the Necklace of Fireballs, which look to be a string or cluster of spherical bead things, sometimes with the ends tied together to form a necklace. However, it does not use up your all-important neck slot, which is really good for us. If a character holds it, everyone can see it as a golden chain from which hang a number of golden spheres. The spheres are detachable by the wearer, and only by the wearer, who can easily hurl one of them up to 70 feet. When a sphere arrives at the end of its trajectory, it detonates as a fireball. They range in size. If a necklace is being worn or carried by a character who fails her saving throw against a magical fire attack, the item must make a saving throw as well with a save bonus of +7. If the necklace fails to save, all of the remaining spheres detonate simultaneously, which is basically our entire shtick in high-level play. We talked about this item when we talked about our first Magus. Remember, you can pay a little extra to get this tacked on to your Amulet of Natural Armor, the Flame variant of the Amulet of Spirits. In addition to some Fire Ward stuff, twice per day as a swift action, the wearer can cause a creature within 30 feet to become vulnerable to fire until the end of the wearer's turn. Whenever the creature takes fire damage, it takes half again as much. This doesn't double vulnerability, immunity, and resistances apply. Blah, 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 blah. We don't care. We're just trying to explode things. Now let me take you to the part 2 of that punch. Rostland Edge. A +2 countering Impervious Aldori Dueling Sword. If it's destroyed, it explodes, dealing 10d6 points of fire damage to every creature within a 20-foot radius spread. And there you go. 10d6 points of fire damage when you break your own sword, and then the shards of that sword go everywhere, setting off maybe a necklace of fireballs. Though remember to spend a free action to drop that item, so you don't have to fail your first save against your own fire damage. Also, that's soon to be super arbitrary. More on that in a second. Sets off a pretty powerful chain reaction. How does 1d4 plus your modifier for your hardness of the thing you broke plus 68d6? I had to say that like 4 times, so it didn't sound like I'm saying 6d8d6. No, 68, 60 plus 8 d6. I really wish I could show you guys the picture that I used to have when I did this once and killed a worm that walks with a centaur monk that I had a lot of fun with. Drop the Necklace of Fireballs, it fails the save, bang. Definitely the most dice I've rolled in my career. If you're a patron, you can take a look at our document and you can see how arbitrarily easy it is. Basically, as soon as we're online, to make our strength checks versus doors and iron bars and things succeed. This is the part where the GM has to play into the build because otherwise we're shut off. Remember, the enhancement bonus and the material the blade is made of have nothing to do with the break DC. I have to assume that the reason break a weapon does not appear on the strength check DC table is because no one thought, wow, somebody might break their own weapon for value. And the impervious enchantment literally says the break DC for an impervious weapon and the wielder's CMD against sunders each gain a bonus equal to twice the weapon's enhancement bonus, which seems to directly inform me that a weapon can be subject to a strength check to break. Looking back at that table again, the closest thing we're looking at here to breaking a sword probably is bending iron bars, a DC 24. So a +5 Roslin's Edge would be sitting at a 34. -2 when we're wielding it, remember it auto gains the broken condition, means that we need to be hitting a DC 32 pretty regularly. Let's pretend we started with 18 strength. Let's pretend that 18 strength goes up by 4 when you're raging, of course it does, and a +2 from being enlarged. Anything from enlarged person from your friends to righteous might and back again puts us at a base strength at level 1 of 24, assuming you can get that enlarged person from jump. Gatecrasher gives us a +2 on our strength checks, being a large creature gives us a +4, or obedience gives us a +4. So that's a +17 we're adding to strength checks right off the bat. That's before any enhancement bonuses to strength. We literally only need 15 points to close the gap here. Eventually this becomes arbitrarily easy. Eventually it comes to a point that you cannot fail. And when the sword breaks, the sword does 10d6 points of fire damage, DC 14 to half, then 1d4 plus 20 if you had your sword made of adamantine, then a +10 from its enhancement bonus, and could even do a further +10 if your wizard friend cast Hardening on it, a spell that increases the hardness of materials by 1 point per 2 caster levels. So eventually a 20th level wizard will give you hardness +10. I have to assume that doesn't stack. God, can you imagine? Anyway, that's a D4 plus 40. DC 10 plus half your hit dice, so 20, plus a max strength after full buffing out of 38. Mod of 14, or DC 34 for half. Cthulhu's reflex save is +29 before any of his other shenanigans. None of his shenanigans are evasion though. So he's still taking half the damage and resists 30 points of fire, but that may be arbitrary. But that's super arbitrary when 10d6 plus 10d6 plus 9d6 plus 9d6 plus 7d6 plus 7d6 plus 5d6 plus 5d6 plus 3d6 plus 3d6 points of fire damage are coming at him. That's one necklace of fireballs type 7. They're pretty cheap. You could buy more. You could spend all of your wealth by level getting these things together. And yeah, they could pass their saves. If that happens, you just throw another one. Next round. Sooner or later, that unattended object will fail a save. On average, 68d6 will do 238 points of fire damage, giving someone vulnerability to fire. And again, the Amulet of the Spirits does not indicate a save, so seems to be that just happens. 357 points of fire damage on average. That number is so swingy. I have to imagine we don't hit the average a whole lot there. But that doesn't mean you're not throwing a lot of damage around. But wait, Tommy! This spell puts us in grave danger, because fire is painful. No, Flaming Aura. A level 4 spell for us gives us the fire subtype. The fire subtype gives us vulnerability to cold but immunity to fire. Oops, that did no damage to us, except maybe half of a d4 plus 40, but that's why we have anti-paladin saves and the ability to heal ourselves as an oracle. I think we'll be fine. Now, in the optimized party, God, follow this card. I don't know what it is though. My first instinct says Punisher. Take away the weapons, break the weapons, do lots of damage. Then the switch hitters clean up while the battlefield control is paralyzing. But I suppose it could go either way. In any case, this build looks really dumb, really fun, and really The more a GM puts into their maps, the more things you have to play with. As a pseudo-marshal, though we have way more Oracle levels than anything else, we become a lot more important to the battlefield when we can punch a door down and do damage to people on the other side, rather than wait for the rogue or walk into a trap. Because no one suspects that, right? Why would this dude come running up, shoulder checking the door to weaponize it against us? To say nothing of the barroom brawls. Did I just give you the best barroom brawler in all of D&D? I'm sorry, GMs everywhere. No, I'm not. This build is sweet. What do you guys think about all this? Would you play it? Have you played around Shrapnel Strike in the past? How did it work for you? Down there in the comments, let me know. Next week on Min-Maxing for Fun and Profit, it's another request from Dragon 9 Hide himself. We're optimizing the Bomber Alchemist. Because we didn't have enough explosions today, right? Yeah, no. See you then.